Okay, so I'm going to show you the layout for the blocks before we start looking at how we put the background on. So I've turned the quilt on point so that you can see, because obviously when you're first making the blocks they're going to look square to you. So for a square quilt, this is the arrangement. So we've got one block on its own, and then we've got a row of 3, and then we've got 5, then 3, then 1. So this will make it square. So what is, I think, it's not important, but it's just the way this pattern works, is when you've made the blocks, you can see where the diagonal line runs through in the pattern. If you keep those blocks all the same orientation, then you will get those diagonal lines running all the way through. So although the fabric within the blocks varies, the direction that they sit is exactly the same, and it doesn't matter which way up we put the quilt, that diagonal will run. Now when we turn the quilt then square again, the lines will run straight down. So if you tilt your head, you can see where it's going to work. But to start with, this is what we're going to do. So decide on the arrangement. So there's 13 blocks in total, so you will have at least one spare, so you can do something else with that. Now for this pattern, this is what works, but there are lots of other general patterns that you can use, but for one just to get you going, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So arrange your block so you've got one on its own. Don't join it together to anything, so you have one on its own and one on its own on the bottom. Leave them as they are. Join the 3 together, the 5 together and the 3 together, and then stop. And I'm going to show you how we make the units. So the top unit is these 2 side pieces and the one at the top that's folded over. So if you look at the bottom, we've got a corner piece, and we've got that triangle here, and we've got this triangle and that triangle, and that makes one unit. So there's the bottom and the top are the same as 2 units. And then what we do, where we've got the 3, we add this triangle and that triangle together, so that makes one row. Now the centre one, which is the 5, has a small triangle on either end, and that makes the other corner, and the 3 is the same. But what you need to remember to keep those diagonal lines right is when we add these triangles, they are upside down to that row, but I'll show you how we do that in a minute. So the one that's the trickiest is the bottom corner, which is just one square, and the 2 sides and the bottom corner, and the up and the top, the bottom one, are technically the same, but this block and this block have to keep the orientation the same, and that's the thing. But you know what, if you turn them around, it really doesn't matter, it's not the end of the world. So I'll get some blocks together and I'll show you how to do these end pieces. Okay, happy sewing!